QQQ Portfolio, Alabama 500.
We can invest in the shares that make up the Nasdaq 100 by acquiring a position in QQQ portfolio. Knowing the QQQ portfolio in depth can change the way you follow stock markets and manage your investments. Until the late 1980s, those who observed variations in the Dow Jones index to know what was happening on Wall Street still dominated. Donald, Joe and Warren still consider how many points Dow Jones score every day. Since then, the S&P 500 index has started to reign as a market measure. It is still used to synthesize the global movement, and the main ETF that emulates it, SPY, is the most popular. But every day more investors choose the Nasdaq 100 as the reference, as its portfolio is made up of the companies that lead the economy of our time. It has an excellent relationship between yields and risks for more than 10 years. Since the monetary policy relaxation that began in the 2008 crisis, QQQ has clearly dominated yields against SPY, S&P 500, and Dow Jones, even paused in 2022, just because inflation issues. These are some of the popular stocks in QQQ portfolio. What is QQQ? QQQ is a kind of investment fund, ETF, that is listed on Wall Street and can be traded minute by minute as if it were a stock. It has very high liquidity and an active options market, vital to be able to measure your risk levels and organize your investment strategies. As we can see on the cover of its issuance prospect, this ETF created by Invesco aims to emulate the yields of the Nasdaq 100 index, and has in its portfolio all the shares that make up that index. Just as the Nasdaq 100 is just a mathematical calculation, QQQ is a real stock portfolio. What advantages does QQQ have as an investment portfolio? The following key concepts in finance are familiar and relevant to all.
Diversification. Risk measurement and control.
Efficient markets. A well-diversified portfolio protects us from so-called non-systematic risks, those affecting a particular company or sector. How do we know it's a well-diversified portfolio? Because we have a tool to measure QQQ risk minute by minute. The expected volatility of the Nasdaq 100, called VXN. Finally, let's look at its adaptation to the principle of market efficiency. In a market as liquid and universally analyzed as the QQQ portfolio, we can be confident that the market price reasonably reflects each company's valuation with the information available at all times. Unlike the other indices, on the Nasdaq 100, the weight of each stock in the portfolio is not determined by any committee of experts, but by the decisions made by investors acting on the market every day. How to invest in QQQ?
On this site we present you a passive investment approach, with strategies adapted to price variations and market risks.
How do we act on price and risk changes? Adopting defensive strategies against loss of yields and risk increases, and aggressive strategies in the opposite situation. In addition, this policy has been reflected in investment algorithms, which generate decisions based on quantitative information, which allows us to free ourselves from the personal emotions or opinions of analysts in each market situation.